Have you ever noticed how heavy a single thought can feel when you carry it around with you all day long? You wake up in the morning, and before your eyes even fully open, it's already sitting there on your chest. You go through the motions of your daily routine. You make your coffee. You feel the warmth of the mug in your hands. You brush your teeth. And you get dressed for the day ahead. On the outside, to anyone looking at you, everything seems completely normal. You nod when people talk to you. You smile politely in the hallway. And you answer with a quiet, "I'm good," whenever someone asks how you're doing. But inside your mind, a completely different reality is playing out. It feels like carrying an overpacked, heavy suitcase through a crowded station, except nobody else can see the strap cutting into your shoulder. Nobody knows how tired your arms are. You hold on to old conversations, sharp words spoken in anger, or those quiet moments where you desperately wish you had done things differently. We convince ourselves that if we just replay the memory one more time, if we just analyze it from every possible angle, we will somehow fix what happened. We tell ourselves that thinking about it is helping us process it. But in reality, all we are doing is reliving the pain. We are reopening a wound that is begging for the chance to heal. So many of us are walking around carrying quiet grief, old regrets, or an unspoken fear of what comes next. We keep it all tucked away inside because we don't want to be a burden to the people we love. We tell ourselves to be strong, to push through it, and to keep moving. But being strong was never meant to mean carrying everything all by yourself until you break. It is exhausting to pretend that you are okay when your mind feels so heavy. It takes so much energy to keep up appearances when all you really want to do is sit down, rest, and let it all out. If you are listening right now and feeling completely worn out from holding on to things that no longer serve you, I want you to stop for a second. Take a deep, slow breath in and let it out. You don't have to carry all of this today. You don't have to have everything figured out right this second. Before we go any deeper into today's reflection, I want us to build a safe space together in the comments below. Take a moment right now to leave a simple affirmation for yourself and for anyone else who might be reading along today. Write, "I choose to drop what is heavy and give myself permission to heal." Let those words be your starting point. Type them out, say them out loud, or just let them settle into your heart. You are not alone in this, and it is completely okay to finally let your hands rest. Think about a moment from your past that still makes your stomach drop every single time it crosses your mind. Maybe it was a project at work that completely fell apart despite all the effort you poured into it. Maybe it was an awkward misstep during a conversation where you said the wrong thing and instantly felt the air leave the room. Or maybe it was a deep, meaningful friendship that slowly began to drift away, leaving you with unanswered questions and an aching sense of loss. Late at night, when the rest of the world has gone quiet and the lights are finally turned off, your mind decides that this is the moment to open up that specific memory. You lie there, staring at the ceiling, feeling the silence press in around you. Suddenly, your mind pulls out old text messages or unearths words spoken months or years ago. You start analyzing every single detail. You scrutinize every word, every tone of voice, every punctuation mark, wondering what you could have done differently to change the outcome. You find yourself crafting the perfect responses in your head, the things you wish you had said in that moment, the calm and confident words that could have saved the situation. You rewrite the scenario over and over again, hoping that if you can just picture a better ending, the pain of what actually happened will somehow disappear. We do this because we naturally seek closure. We want our story to make sense, and we want to fix the things that hurt us. It is completely human to long for a different outcome. But the truth, as difficult as it is to sit with, is that replaying a moment 1,000 times will never rewrite the script. The past is fixed. It is locked in time, not because you failed or because you were weak, but simply because time only moves in one direction. When you continuously replay these moments, you force yourself to relive the heartbreak, the embarrassment, or the anger over and over again. You drag the pain of yesterday directly into the safety of your today. It is like trying to heal a physical wound while constantly picking at the edges. It never gets the chance to close. Recognizing that you cannot change what happened is not giving up. It is not admitting defeat. And it certainly does not mean that what happened didn't matter or didn't hurt. It simply means accepting reality so you can finally catch your breath. It means acknowledging that you did the best you could with the emotional strength, maturity, and understanding you had in that exact moment. You cannot judge your past self with the wisdom you possess today. You deserve to stop punishing yourself for things that are already behind you. You deserve to let that moment stay in the past where it belongs, so you can finally step into the peace of right now. Holding on to emotional weight doesn't always look like tears falling down your face, and it doesn't always look like shouting in anger. Most of the time, it looks like a deep, quiet, and persistent exhaustion. It's that constant, heavy feeling of being completely drained before your day has even truly started. You wake up after a full night of sleep, but your spirit still feels tired. You find yourself sitting in your car for 5 extra minutes after parking, staring at the steering wheel, unable to step outside because you feel an unexplained, heavy weight pressing down on your chest. You go through the motions, cooking meals, running errands, talking to family, but underneath it all, you are carrying an invisible load that never lets you fully relax. When you constantly hold on to old regrets, unresolved hurt, or a constant fear of what might happen next, your mental energy is continuously leaking out. It is like leaving multiple apps running in the background of your phone. You might not be actively using them, but they are slowly draining your battery until there is nothing left. Because of this hidden drainage, You might notice that you have far less patience for the people you love. Small inconveniences feel overwhelming. You have less focus for the hobbies and activities that used to bring you genuine happiness. You might find yourself sitting at your desk, staring at a blank screen or a simple task, completely unable to concentrate, because your mind is working overtime in the background, trying to make sense of feelings you haven't given yourself permission to feel. We often convince ourselves that letting go requires a massive, dramatic gesture. We think we have to pack up our lives, make a huge public declaration, or completely reinvent who we are overnight. But real letting go rarely happens in a storm. Usually, it happens in absolute quiet. It begins in a private, gentle moment when you finally stop fighting and admit to yourself, keeping this burden alive inside me is costing me far too much. It begins when you recognize that holding on to old hurts is not protecting you from future pain. It is only keeping the old pain alive today. You realize that your mind and your body are tired of being in a state of constant defense. You do not have to carry every piece of your history into every single moment of your future. It is completely okay to admit that you are tired. It is okay to stop holding your breath, to lower your guard, and to give your heart the rest it has been abjectly asking for. Choosing to put down that emotional weight is not a sign of weakness. It is the moment you decide that your peace today matters more than the hurt of yesterday. When we struggle to release old hurts, it is often because those hurts have slowly become part of who we believe we are. Over time, without even realizing it, we start defining ourselves by what was taken from us, by how unfairly we were treated, or by the moments where we fell short of our own expectations. The pain becomes familiar. It becomes the lens through which we view our worth, our relationships, and our place in the world. And strangely enough, even when a feeling causes us pain, its familiarity can feel safer than stepping into the unknown space of healing. We protect these wounded parts of ourselves. We hide them behind busy schedules, defensive armor, or a quiet silence. We worry that if we let go of the pain, we won't know who we are without it. This is why meeting those unseen, hurting parts of ourselves requires so much tenderness. The Swiss psychologist Carl Jung offered a beautiful and gentle insight into this exact process. He wrote, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Notice how quiet and comforting that distinction is. Jung wasn't suggesting that our pain never existed, nor was he asking us to pretend that deep wounds don't leave scars. Instead, he was gently reminding us that what happened to you is merely a single chapter in your story, not the hand that holds the pen. What happened to you shaped your memories, your caution, and your sensitivity. But it does not have to dictate your future identity. You are so much larger than the worst thing that ever happened to you. You are so much more than the mistakes you have made or the rejection you once felt. When you sit quietly with yourself and realize that your core self is separate from your past hurts, a profound shift begins to take place. You stop treating your pain like a lifelong sentence and start seeing it as something that simply needs to be acknowledged, held, and allowed to rest. You give yourself permission to step out from under the heavy shadow of your history. You realize that you have the power, right here in this present moment, to choose who you want to be next. Why is it so hard to put down the things that hurt us? When we look deep inside, past the anger and past the fatigue, it almost always comes down to a quiet, desperate desire for control. We hold on to old grief, lingering resentment, or broken expectations, because somewhere in our hearts, we feel that if we finally let them go, we are admitting defeat. We feel like letting go means agreeing that what happened was fine, or accepting that life isn't always fair. We cling to the anger because it feels like a shield, protecting us from ever being caught off guard again. Think about holding a simple cup of water in your hand. If you hold it for a minute, it's not a problem at all. If you hold it for an hour, your arm will begin to ache and feel heavy. If you hold it all day long, your muscles will cramp, your hand will go numb, and the ache will consume your entire attention. The actual weight of the cup never changed. It remained light the entire time. But the longer you held on to it, the heavier and more painful it became. Holding on to past expectations works in the exact same way. You might be holding on to an old dream that no longer fits the person you have grown into today. You might be holding a colleague, a former partner, a family member, or a friend to a standard they simply do not have the capacity to meet. You keep hoping that if you just hold on tight enough, they will finally understand how much they hurt you, or the situation will miraculously rewrite itself. But expecting the past to be different, or expecting people to change without their own genuine desire to do so, is like standing outside in a storm trying to control the wind. You exhaust all your energy fighting against a reality that simply is. The moment you soften your grip and release your hold on how things should have been, something miraculous happens. You don't lose strength, you regain it. You free up your hands, your heart, and your energy to finally receive the beauty, peace, and love that are waiting for you right in front of you. Letting go can feel terrifying because it requires us to step out into empty space without a safety net. When you have spent months or even years holding on to a particular story, a story about your limitations, a past heartbreak, an unfair loss, or a deep regret, that story slowly becomes a familiar landscape. Even if it is filled with pain and sadness, it is a landscape you know by heart. You know every contour of that grief. You know what to expect from it. Leaving it behind feels like stepping out of a dimly lit room and walking straight into complete darkness. When you think about moving forward, quiet questions begin to whisper in the back of your mind. If I stop carrying this grief, does it mean I never really cared? If I stop feeling angry about how I was treated, does it mean what they did was okay? Who am I going to be once I put this pain down? The answers to those questions are far more gentle than your fear wants you to believe. Letting go does not mean you erase your past, nor does it mean you pretend the hurt never existed. It does not mean you excuse unfair behavior or invalidate the tears you shed. It simply means you have reached a point where you value your own health, your own heart, and your own peace of mind more than you value staying attached to an old wound. Forgiveness and release are rarely about the person or the situation that hurt you. They are not prizes you hand out to someone else. They are acts of profound kindness and mercy that you show to yourself. They are the quiet moments where you say, I am no longer willing to pay the emotional price for something I cannot change. Stepping into the unknown space of moving forward takes incredible courage. It means trusting that even if you don't know exactly what your life will look like without this burden, whatever comes next has to be better than remaining trapped in yesterday. You are allowed to leave the heavy pieces behind. You are allowed to heal, to breathe, and to step forward into a future that belongs entirely to you. So many of the ways we react to the world around us aren't conscious choices we make in the moment. They are automatic habits, quiet emotional paths that were worn deep into our minds over years of trying to protect ourselves. Think about how you react when something unexpected happens. Maybe every time you receive constructive feedback at work or from someone you love, your chest tightens instantly and your mind jumps straight to self-doubt. Before you even have a chance to evaluate what was actually said, an old, familiar voice whispers that you aren't good enough, that you failed, or that you are about to be exposed. Or think about how you handle conflict. Whenever a disagreement arises with someone close to you, what is your immediate, automatic response? Do you feel a sudden, desperate urge to fix it right that second, sending long messages and seeking instant reassurance because the silence feels completely unbearable? Or do you do the opposite, pulling away, shutting down, and building a thick emotional wall to protect yourself before anyone else can hurt you? We fall into these automatic patterns so quickly that we don't even realize they are happening. We mistake these defensive reactions for our actual personality. We look at our anxiety, our tendency to withdraw, or our need to over-explain, and we tell ourselves, that's just who I am. That's just how I handle things. But when we take a step back and look at these patterns with gentleness and curiosity rather than harsh judgment, we begin to see where they truly came from. Those reactions were built by a younger version of you, a version of you that was hurt, scared, or trying desperately to stay safe in a moment where you felt powerless. Building a wall kept you from getting hurt back then. Pleasing everyone around you kept the peace when things felt unstable. Pulling away protected your heart when someone broke your trust. Those defensive patterns served a purpose once. But the tragedy is that we keep wearing the armor long after the war has ended. We carry those old survival tactics into new, safe spaces. And without realizing it, those very walls keep us isolated from the love, connection, and peace we long for today. When we reflect on these hidden, automatic habits, the insights of Carl Jung offer a deeply comforting and illuminating framework. He wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Read those words carefully, and let them sit with your heart for a moment. When Jung talks about making the unconscious conscious, he isn't asking us to perform complex mental gymnastics or dissect every single thought. He is simply inviting us to bring our hidden, automatic habits into the light of awareness. He is reminding us that as long as we live on autopilot, we will keep repeating the exact same painful loops, choosing the same types of exhausting situations, reacting with the same old defenses, and feeling like life is somehow cursed or doomed to keep hurting us. We call it fate, but in reality, it is just our unexamined past continuing to run the present. The moment you bring an automatic reaction into the light, its power over you begins to fade. The next time you feel that sudden surge of panic, anger, or defensiveness, try not to react immediately. Stop for just 5 seconds. Take a soft breath and ask yourself with tenderness, is this reaction coming from what is happening right now, or is this an old memory trying to protect me? When you pause like that, you step out of the dark. You stop being a passive passenger driven by old wounds, and you become the conscious author of your own life. You begin to realize that you are no longer that helpless version of yourself who needed those heavy defenses to survive. You are here, in the present, safe, and capable of choosing a healthier, calmer, and more loving way forward. Restoring peace to a tired mind is not something that happens overnight through a single massive wave of transformation. It is not a dramatic, one-time decision where you wake up the next morning and suddenly feel completely free from everything that ever hurt you. Real, lasting healing is a quiet, continuous, daily practice. It is built slowly, piece by piece, through small, intentional choices that you make in the middle of your ordinary, everyday routine. The journey of letting go begins by becoming deeply aware of how your body carries your emotional stress. So often, when our minds are racing with old worries or holding on to past hurts, our physical bodies are silently bearing the weight. Take a moment right now, wherever you are listening to this, to stop and pay attention to how your body actually feels. Are your shoulders pulled up tight toward your ears? Is your jaw clenched tight without you even realizing it? Is your breathing shallow, staying right at the top of your chest? When we hold on to mental tension, our bodies freeze in a state of quiet defense. The first practical step toward release is simply learning to soften. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears. Unclench your teeth and let your jaw rest. Unfurl your hands if you are making fists. Take a deep, slow breath in through your nose, letting your belly expand, and then let out a long, gentle exhale. When you intentionally relax your physical body, you send a clear, safe signal back to your brain that the danger has passed and that it is finally okay to let go of the tension. Another powerful daily practice is learning how to gently distance yourself from intrusive memories and distressing thoughts. When an old hurt suddenly resurfaces while you are going about your day, maybe while you are sitting at your desk, walking through the grocery store, or making dinner, your instinct might be to jump right into the memory and start wrestling with it. You start arguing with the thought, or getting angry at yourself for feeling upset again. Instead of fighting the thought, try simply labeling it with kindness. When that old memory surfaces, say to yourself softly, "I am noticing that my mind is having a thought about the past." Notice how that small change in language creates space. You are no longer saying, "I am broken," or "I am trapped in this pain." You are simply observing a passing thought, like a cloud moving across the sky. Once you name it, gently bring your attention back to whatever is right in front of you in the physical world. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Listen to the quiet hum of the room around you. Feel the weight of your feet planted firmly on the ground, or focus on the simple warmth of a mug sitting in your hands. Grounding yourself in the sensory details of the present moment reminds your heart that you are here, right now, safe in today, not trapped back in yesterday. Finally, daily release means creating physical and digital boundaries that support your emotional peace. We often stay tethered to past pain because we keep its reminders right in front of us. Look around your space. Are there physical items sitting on your shelves, in your drawers, or in your closet that immediately pull you back into an old chapter of life that brought you heartbreak? You don't have to keep things out of obligation if seeing them leaves a heavy ache in your heart. You are allowed to put them away, donate them, or let them go. The same is true for your digital life. If there are old text threads, lingering online groups, or saved messages that you constantly find yourself rereading late at night, messages that leave you feeling empty, anxious, or drained, give yourself permission to step back. Delete the thread, mute the notifications, or clear out the space. When you take these small physical and digital actions, you are making a powerful declaration to yourself. You are telling your mind that your present environment belongs to who you are today, not to who you used to be. Every small choice to clear away old noise creates a quiet, sacred pocket of space where new joy, fresh energy, and genuine healing can finally take root. Life is inherently dynamic, fluid, and constantly moving forward. Every second that ticks by is brand new, carrying with it fresh possibilities, new breath, and clean slates. Yet so often, we find ourselves living as though time has stopped. We try so hard to freeze a single moment in time. Sometimes it's a high point from our past, a season where we felt completely secure, loved, or successful, and we spend all our present energy grieving that it's over, longing for things to go back to exactly how they used to be. Other times, it's a low point, a moment of deep heartbreak, betrayal, or personal failure. And we wrap ourselves in that moment, carrying its weight around like a perpetual sentence. When we hold on so tightly to what was, we unconsciously detach ourselves from the living, breathing reality of right now. We walk through our days like ghosts visiting our own lives. We sit at dinner tables with people who love us, but our minds are miles away, wandering through the hallways of yesterday. We look out at a beautiful morning sky, but our eyes are dimmed by the shadows of old regrets. We miss the warmth of the sun today because we are still shivering from the cold winds of a winter that passed years ago. Think about a clear, gentle river flowing over smooth stones. The water doesn't fight against the rocks in its path. It doesn't throw itself against a boulder over and over again, demanding that the obstacle move out of the way. It doesn't look back at the quiet forest shore it passed 5 miles behind and try to drag itself backward upstream. The river simply moves. It flows around the edges, adapts to the curves of the earth, and finds the path of least resistance. It trusts the journey forward because its very nature is to keep moving toward the vast, open ocean. When we allow ourselves to flow like that river, we unlock a deep sense of internal ease that overthinking could never provide. We stop treating life like a problem that needs to be solved or fixed, and we start experiencing it as a journey that is meant to be lived. Today is offering you a completely fresh set of moments that have never existed in human history until right now. This exact hour, this exact breath, this exact heartbeat, it is all brand new. You do not have to carry yesterday's emotional fatigue into this afternoon. You don't have to carry the heavy expectations of who you thought you would be by now into your evening. You can decide right here, in this very second, that the past has had its say, and that today belongs entirely to you. You can choose to stop demanding that life look a certain way before you allow yourself to be happy. Embracing the present unfolding means making peace with the messy, unfinished nature of growth. It means accepting that it is okay not to have all the answers right now. You don't need to know how the whole story ends to enjoy the page you are reading today. Give yourself permission to be a beginner again. Give yourself permission to start over, even if you feel like you've had to start over 100 times before. Give yourself grace for where you are currently standing, without demanding immediate perfection or instant resolution. When you soften your expectations and open your arms to the present moment just as it is, you begin to realize that peace was never something waiting for you at the end of a long, difficult struggle. Peace is right here, hidden in the quiet space of accepting right now. You are here. You are breathing. You are surviving. And in this very moment, as life quietly unfolds around you, you have everything you need to take one small, beautiful step forward. As we bring our quiet reflection to a close today, I want you to stop for just a moment. Take a deep breath and honor the effort you are making simply by sitting here with these thoughts. Choosing to look inward is not easy. It takes genuine quiet courage to pull back the layers of busy daily life, sit in the stillness, and look directly at the places inside yourself that hurt. Most of the world teaches us to run away from our pain, to distract ourselves, to cover it up with noise, or to pretend that we are completely fine when our hearts are heavy. But you didn't do that today. You chose to slow down. You chose to listen. You chose to give your spirit a quiet space to breathe. And that simple choice is a profound act of self-love. I want to remind you of something very important. Healing is not a clean, straight line. We often expect our personal growth to look like a steady upward slope, where every single day we feel stronger, lighter, and wiser than the day before. But real life rarely works that way. Healing is far more like the ocean waves. It has its own gentle, unpredictable rhythm. There will be days when you feel light, hopeful, and entirely free from the burdens of your past. On those days, stepping forward feels effortless, and the future looks bright and full of quiet promise. But there will also be days when an old song, a familiar scent, or a random memory briefly surfaces out of nowhere, bringing a sudden wave of sadness back into your chest. You might catch yourself replaying an old thought or feeling that familiar tightness in your shoulders. And you might feel a sudden surge of disappointment in yourself. You might think, I thought I was past this. Why am I feeling this way again? When those moments come, and they will, I need you to remember that bad days do not mean you have lost your progress. Feeling pain again does not mean you have failed, nor does it mean that all the work you've done was for nothing. It simply means you are human. It means you are navigating the natural ebb and flow rhythm of learning, unlearning, and healing old wounds. A wave hitting the shore doesn't mean the ocean is broken. It is just how the water moves. When old emotions return, treat them with gentleness rather than frustration. You don't have to fight them or judge yourself for having them. You can simply acknowledge them, offer yourself a little extra grace, and wait for the wave to pass back out to sea. Be deeply, unconditionally gentle with yourself throughout this entire process. You do not have to figure out the rest of your life today. You do not have to solve every complex problem on your mind before you go to sleep tonight. You don't need a grand, detailed 10-year plan. And you certainly don't need to guarantee that you will never make another mistake. The pressure to fix everything all at once is just another heavy burden that you were never meant to carry. All you ever need to do is take the very next step. All you are asked to do right now is release the single thought that is weighing on you in this exact second. Drop just one worry from your mind. Soften your shoulders just a little bit more. Take one slow, deliberate breath and trust that you possess the inner strength to handle whatever comes in the next hour and the next day. The story of your life is not written by the unfair things that happened to you in the past. nor is it trapped by the moments where you felt weak or helpless. Your story is being written right now, in the quiet choices you make in the stillness of today. You have spent so much energy holding on to things that hurt you, holding on to old expectations, old regrets, and old fears, out of a quiet belief that doing so would keep you safe. But true safety, true peace, and true strength were never found in holding on. They are found in the soft, beautiful moment when you finally open your hands, let go of what was never meant to be carried forever, and allow yourself to receive the life that is waiting for you right now. Your freedom does not begin tomorrow. It does not wait for a perfect moment or a grand life change somewhere down the road. Your peace of mind is worth protecting, your heart is worthy of rest, and your freedom begins right here, right now, the moment you give yourself permission to put it all down and step into the light of today. As our time together comes to a quiet end, take a moment to pause right where you are. We have spent this time walking through the hidden corridors of our inner lives. We have looked at the silent weight we carry, the endless loops of past memories, the quiet fatigue of emotional exhaustion, and the subtle ways we try to control a reality that has already passed. We have talked about the courage it takes to look at our automatic habits with tenderness, and how small, daily practices can slowly restore peace to a weary mind. Now, as the words settle into your heart and the room grows quiet around you, you might be wondering, what happens next? How do I take all of these reflections and actually live them out in my everyday life? The answer is much simpler and more gentle than your mind might think. Healing does not require you to retreat from the world or transform into a completely different person overnight. Living in freedom simply means choosing to inhabit the space of right now, over and over again, with an open heart and a soft grip. Throughout your day tomorrow, you will inevitably encounter moments that test your peace. You will sit at your desk, walk down familiar streets, or talk to people who bring up old emotional habits. You might feel that familiar tightness in your chest, or that sudden urge to protect yourself, pull away, or over-explain. When those moments arrive, remember that you are no longer bound by your past. You are not trapped in an old script. You have the power to stop, take a slow breath, and choose a different response. You have the right to protect your energy, to set gentle boundaries, and to say to yourself softly, I don't have to carry this anymore. I am safe in today. Imagine what your life could feel like if you stopped rehearsing past regrets. Imagine how much energy you would have if you allowed your hands to remain empty, ready to embrace the unexpected beauty, joy, and connection that today has to offer. Letting go is not an act of losing something. It is an act of reclaiming yourself. It is returning home to your own spirit, uncluttering your mind, and finally giving your heart the quiet, undisturbed, rest it has been longing for. Before you go back to your day, before you check your notifications or move on to the next task on your list, let us anchor this experience together one last time. If this journey has touched something deep inside you, I invite you to leave one vital affirmation in the comments below. Let your words serve as a quiet promise to yourself and a beacon of hope for anyone else who is scrolling through and seeking comfort today. Write in the comments, "I release what was, I embrace what is, and I step freely into my future." Type those words out with intention. Feel the truth behind them as your fingers hit the keys. Read the comments from others who are typing the exact same thing across the world, and realize that you are never walking this path entirely alone. We are all learning how to put down our heavy baggage, piece by piece, day by day. Thank you for sharing your time, your attention, and your heart with this reflection today. Be deeply gentle with yourself as you move forward. Take a deep, restorative breath. Let your shoulders drop, and step into the rest of your day with peace, courage, and genuine freedom.